I zipped up my brand new laptop and found myself sitting in aisle seat 22C, heading for Palma, Mallorca. As the plane took off, I realized that being stranded between the earth and the sky was a bit like being on an escalator. The man, unlucky enough to be sitting next to a weeping woman, looked like he had once been in the army and now spent his life lying on a beach. I was pleased my cheap airline buddy was a tough guy with hard square shoulders and jagged welts of sunburn striping his thick neck, but I did not want anyone to attempt to comfort me. If anything, my tears seemed to send him into a tantric shopping coma, because he called for the air hostess and ordered 2 cans of beer, a vodka and Coke, an extra Coke, a tube of Pringles, a scratch card, a teddy bear stuffed with mini chocolate bars, a Swiss watch on special offer, and asked the crew if the airline had one of those questionnaires to fill in where you get a free holiday if it's drawn out of the hat. The tanned military man pushed the teddy bear into my face and said, "That'll cheer you up if nothing will," as if the bear was a handkerchief with glass eyes sewn on it. When the plane landed in Palma at 11 p.m., the only taxi driver prepared to drive me up the steep mountain roads might have been blind, because he had white clouds floating across both his eyes. No one in the queue wanted to admit they were anxious he would crash the car, and avoided him when he pulled up at the taxi rank. After we negotiated the price, he managed to drive without looking at the road, and instead had his fingers on the dial of the radio while staring at his feet. An hour later, he began to maneuver his Mercedes up a narrow road, lined with pine trees, that I knew went on for a deceptively long time. He managed to get halfway up and then suddenly shouted, "No, no, no!" and abruptly stopped the car. For the first time all spring, I wanted to laugh. We both sat in the dark, a rabbit running through the grass, neither of us knowing what to do next. In the end, I gave him a generous tip for driving so dangerously, and started the long walk up the dark path that I vaguely remembered led to the hotel. The smell of wood fires in the stone houses below, and the bells on sheep grazing in the mountains, and the strange silence that happens in between the bells chiming, suddenly made me want to smoke. I had long given up smoking, but at the airport I had bought a packet of Spanish cigarettes, fully intending to start again. I sat down on a damp rock under a tree that was a little way off the path, pushed my laptop between my shins, and lit up under the stars. Smoking cheap Spanish filthy sock tobacco under a pine tree was so much better than trying to hold it together on escalators. There was something comforting about being literally lost when I was lost in every other way, and just as I was thinking I might have to sleep on the mountain that night, I heard someone shout my name. A number of things happened at once. I heard the sound of someone on the path, and then I saw the feet of a woman in red leather shoes making her way towards me. She shouted my name again, but for some reason I was unable to attach the name she was shouting to myself. Suddenly a torch was being shone in my face, and when she saw me sitting on a rock under a tree smoking a cigarette, the woman said, "Ah, there you are." The woman's face was shockingly pale, and I wondered if she was mad. But then I remembered I was the mad one because she was trying to get me off my rock on the edge of a mountain, dressed for the beach on a night when the temperature had fallen to below freezing. "I saw you walking into the forest. I think you are lost, eh?" I nodded, but must have looked confused because she said, "I am Meire." Meire was the owner of the hotel, and she looked much older and sadder than the last time we met. She probably thought the same about me. "Hello, Meire." I stood up. "Thank you for coming to find me." We walked in silence back to the hotel, and she pointed with her torch to the turning where I had missed the path, as if she was a detective gathering evidence for something neither of us could fathom. People who book into this pension want particular things: a quiet place near the citrus orchards and waterfalls, cheap large rooms, a calm place to rest and think.